Hello everybody, we are here with your Zeus guide, second to last guide in this series. We'll be going Zeus in the mid lane. Zeus has a really hard time living, and he has a lot of damage. So we're actually going to be going into ban crops on Zeus. We're going to get the tier 2, a health potion, a mana potion, and we're going to get some beat. Zeus is not really a conquest character. He gets played a lot in other game modes because of his damage output, but in conquest, he tends to get picked off very easily. There's just so many gods that are good into him, and while he does have great damage output, he's got good clear, all that stuff, he does not have a getaway skill, which is really his downfall. At level 1, we are going to grab our 2. This is our Aegis Assault. We are going to throw out a shield in a small circle, dealing damage. And that shield is going to stay up in the world for 5 seconds. And when we attack the shield with our auto attacks or our 1, it is going to pulsate and it is going to deal out some static damage. So this is going to be our main form of lane clear. We are going to throw this ability out into the world. It does some initial damage, and then we continue to auto attack the shield, basically making our auto attacks AoE.
I'll keep a close eye.
At level 2, we are going to grab our 1. This is our Chain Lightning. We can bounce our Chain Lightning off of our shield if we so desire, or off of a minion or an enemy god. When it hits someone, it is going to deal damage to them and slow them by 30% for 2 seconds. And then it is going to bounce for a total of 4 arcs. The reason why all of these minions have this little static charge on them is relevant for our 3rd ability. Our 3rd ability is called Detonate. So whenever you auto attack someone or whenever you hit them with your ultimate or your 1st ability, they are going to be grabbing these charges all around them. These charges are going to deal damage depending on how many charges you have stacked on the target. So you can have up to 3 stacked onto 1 target. You can have up to 3 stacked onto 1 target. And that is going to deal this damage depending on what you have ranked in the ability. So right now it does 60 damage, but that 60 damage is then going to be multiplied by the amount of charges that you have. So if I had 3 charges on somebody, it's going to be 60 times 2.4 damage. All the way up until the end, which will be 180 times 2.4 damage. Our passive on Zeus is also related to our charges. So our auto attacks are going to do more damage to a target, whether that's the Gold Fury or an enemy god, doesn't matter, depending on how much charges they have built up on them. So we get an extra 30% damage in our auto attacks per charge that somebody has. So if I'm like attacking this big minion, you can actually see that damage number that I do go up on these minions as I start to build up those charges. So oftentimes, especially in the early game, it's better to get in a couple of more auto attacks on a target. So I'm gonna just sit here and I'm gonna continue auto attacking this red buff until he gets to about that halfway point, and then I'm gonna detonate. That way I don't lose out on all that auto attack damage before I detonate, because when I detonate, it is going to take away all the charges from the target. So maximize my damage output there. Then finally, we have our ultimate. Our ultimate on Zeus is a giant area, a giant circle. And within that circle, enemies are going to take damage. The longer they stand in it, the more they are going to get hit by Zeus's ult. Every single second, this is going to shoot down a lightning bolt. So right now it'll do about 160 damage per lightning bolt, and that damage is theoretically times 5. Now, for the most part, you're not going to get a god stuck in this ability for all 5 strikes. They will simply walk out or jump out or whatever, but it is a great way to hit a lot of people once or twice and get a bunch of stacks going on with them. So we made our first back really, and we got ourselves our Bancrofts, and then we're going to continue working on our boots. Our Bancroft is going to be great for 2 reasons. 1, we are going to be taking a lot of damage, meaning we are going to get that Bancroft's proc on us a lot of the time. On Zeus, you're basically a sitting duck in Conquest. You're going to get dove over and over and over again. And so Bancrofts gives you more magical power and lifesteal as you're missing health. And you will find that you are missing your health a lot on Zeus. And so you're going to be able to utilize this passive most of the time that you're fighting in the mid lane. On top of that, we also need lifesteal in general, just because Zeus is so susceptible to poke. We do not have a movement ability at all. Literally none, no bonus movement in any regards. So he really, really needs the lifesteal in order to try and stay alive through any sort of poke. For our leveling order, we are getting our Detonate ranked up here first. We grabbed our 2, our 1, then our 3. We are going to max out our Detonate as soon as possible. We'll be grabbing our ultimate whenever we can to rank up that damage. Then we're going to go back to our 1 and finally our 2. So the official level order there for Zeus is 3, 4, 1, 2. But keep in mind, you do get the 2. You do get the 2 at level 1 for your clear, followed by your Chain Lightning. That Chain Lightning can get you out of a lot of scary situations early because it does have that slow on it. And if you're getting attacked by 2 people at once and it bounces back and forth on them over and over again, it's going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to continually be applying that slow, which is nice.
Drone launched.
So our final leveling order, 4, 3, 1, 2. Get that ulti whenever you can. Rank up that Detonate, then your Chain Lightning, and finally your 2. Your 2, for the most part, you're just using to either bounce your 1 off of, or to clear the wave with your auto attacks like this. Gonna try to land a Chain Lightning on that Khepri. It's gonna go back and forth between Khepri and Merlin over and over again. And then I pop my Detonate, and they're each gonna take quite a bit of damage. Merlin down to half HP. So on Zeus, your goal is to get off as much poke as you can, while also staying as far back as humanly possible. He's basically like the bad version of Thought, where you're trying to throw out your 2-1 combo and just trying to get poke onto people. But you have to get a lot closer than Thoth does to have to poke, and Thoth even has a getaway skill to help him if he gets too close to danger. So you're basically more like a Pooch. You're like a slightly more viable out Pooch because you do actually have some really nice damage potential. So, but you can see if they decide to go on you like this, the only thing you can do is absolutely buckle down and get off as much damage as you possibly can before you die. So your goal on Zeus when you're getting dove by that many people is to grab a kill before you die and make it an even 1-for-1 trade. If you can make it a 1-for-1 trade, that is an absolute win. Next up, I'm going to get myself a Shoes of the Magi. I'm going to look at their team comp. They do have some healing with the Set and the Robin, but I'm not going to deal with that quite yet. I'm going to go into a 3rd item, Warlock Sash. This Warlock Sash is going to help make me a little bit tankier, especially once I start getting this stacked. Help keep me alive. My goal is going to be to try to stay alive as long as possible so I can get off as much as my damage before I die. If I can start killing 2 people before I die, then now I'm making a positive trade, and that's my goal on Zeus.
Justice. Holy shit! You're on fire!
Your standard combination on Zeus is going to be real simple. You're going to throw out your shield, that is your 2. And then you're going to follow up with a chain lightning on that shield. The reason why you do it that way is because that way you can't miss your chain lightning. If you're trying to throw out your chain lightning onto a person, you've always got the chance of missing. But because your shield is just going to stand there real static like for you, you never have to worry about missing it and then missing out on the potential damage. So 2, then follow up with the 1, and then wait for all of those static procs to get on people.
Electric justice.
And then you go for the detonate. Speaking of detonates, I'm going to smash down that detonate right there. You can see how much I'm healing off of this band crops right now. I can't really get it on this. I'm just going to chain lightning the creeps. Another bit of advice. If you're in the middle of a fight and you're worried about hitting a target with your chain lightning, but there's a creep nearby, nothing wrong at all with throwing down your chain lightning onto the creep to guarantee to get that first hit, so that way it starts chaining all around so you can get your detonate off. Oh, here we go. I'm going to throw down the detonate just for as much damage as I can. We're going to be able to get the set dying immediately. I'm going to try to get out of here, and it looks like I might actually be able to make it out of this. I'm going to be a little greedy right now. I'm going to go over to my red buff. I've got a huge band cross proc. Oh, my red buff is actually down. It looks like Hachi came over and did the red. But I'm still going to be able to do these back RBs. This band cross, because I'm so low, is actually giving me a bunch of bonus lifesteal on top of the normal lifesteal that it gives me. And so I can freely go do those back RBs with no risk of dying. I'm going to hit this little chalice, and then I'll get enough gold for my warlock stash.
I'll bring the thunder.
For Zeus, none of your abilities really go through walls, so you can't just like throw your one through a wall. You can try to throw stuff kind of over walls, so depending on your angle, you can see you can kind of throw this over the wall. Your detonate will go off no matter where anybody is in the world. So even if they jump over a wall and they're getting really far away from you, as long as these stacks are still on them, these charges last for 5 seconds. And then they will go away. So if you get a stack on somebody and then 4 seconds away from that, you hit them again. Now they have 2 stacks on them. That will refresh that stack duration. So you've got 5 seconds again to work with. So I just got a bunch of them hit with my detonate. So I'm going to just keep auto attacking, and then I'm going to detonate once I feel like I have the comfortable amount of those charges out into the world. We're going to be able to finish off that Capri with a 1. And our warlock stash is starting to get stacked. For gods that you want to pair with Kepri, you are looking for high peel gods. If you're going to play Zeus, you really need to build a composition around him. So a god like Kepri is great to pair with Zeus. Kepri going to have that resurrect, really giving you an opportunity to actually get involved in the battles. So that way, when you die, you can actually have that Kepri ult on you and res back into safety. Same concept as that. Gods like Gep that can provide you the CC immunity, the cleanse, the shell, the stuns, and the knockups for the peel. Those are the type of gods that really pair well with Zeus, because they can just keep him alive. Because he certainly cannot keep himself alive. We'll do our best, but it's a hard one. Other notable gods that you can combine with Zeus is an old classic, which is Odin. So Zeus has this giant ultimate circle, which happens to be the exact size of the inside of Odin cage. So if you actually throw down an Odin onto your team, if they don't have a lot of leaps,
An enemy has been slain.
then you can get giant Odin cages, and then you can get people trapped into the whole duration of your ulti. And so instead of just using your ulti to get 1 or 2 ticks, all of a sudden you're using it to get that 5 times damage off, and now your ulti is doing well over 1,000 damage, and it becomes a whole different ball game. Without my 2, Follow up with my 1. You can see that just kind of bouncing around and everybody. Gonna pop my Detonate to stop the back right there of the Robin. We gotta be a lot more careful than we are being around this Phoenix right now. They're getting zoned out like crazy in the back line, but Vamana might go down. Nope, he's gonna get a great Capriole, and so they're gonna try to dive into this. I'm gonna have my boy bouncing all around in there. I'm gonna pop my Detonate. Doesn't matter, I don't need the vision on him. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get the Phoenix. It's at 1 HP, that is a bummer. But what are you gonna do? One thing you should note about Detonate is that Detonate was changed from the Zeus of old. Detonate used to be a instant ability. So the second you pressed it, it went off. That is no longer how Detonate works. There is a small delay in between pressing Detonate and when it goes off. I don't even know if it mentions it on this ability. I don't think it does. It's about, I would say, a quarter of a second before the Detonate goes off, and it shows a little lightning marker on the enemy. So it'll give them a little visual indicator that they are about to get Zeus ultied. This is important because if they are a good player and they have an Aegis, it is possible to Aegis a Zeus Detonate. You don't have to do it preemptively. You can see the little marker and then react to it. So that way you don't have to accidentally try to guess and waste your Aegis. Now, speaking of Aegis, as our second active, we are going to get a Aegis for ourselves. Just to try to keep us alive as much as possible. A great combination with Zeus, especially when you're getting dove on in the late stages of the game, is to throw down your ultimate right on top of yourself. Then press Aegis. Aegis is going to keep you alive for that 1.5 seconds. And then the second you come out of your Aegis, you press your Detonate. You should have at least 2 to 3 stacks of those people around you, and then you'll get off the majority of your damage before you die. So if you're going to be getting dove on anyway, throw down that ulti right before you Aegis, so that way you're getting your ticks while you're inside the Aegis, and then you can pop the Detonate the second you come out of your Aegis. For our 4th item, I am getting myself a Doom Orb. Doom Orb is a extremely good item right now for mages and is, I would consider it a mandatory item for gods that do not have escapes. So this is gods like Zeus, like Pooch, anybody that does not have a built-in escape needs to have the Doom Orb. So normally I would grab a Doom Orb probably 3rd, but as a Zeus, I want a little bit of that bonus HP, so I went with the Warlocks, meaning that I just have to get the Doom Orb a little bit later because I want to get those Warlock sash stacks started sooner than later. If I wait too long on it, then I'm not going to get maximum efficacy out of this ability in our team fights.
Your team has destroyed them.
Enemies incoming.
Zeus's Detonate is his secure for objectives. Typically, as the mage, you are going to be the person that is in charge of securing the objective. So your combination is going to be 2-1, and while your 2-1 is going, dealing all that burst damage, you press your Detonate. So you want to make sure you've got all 3 stacks on the objective. Throw down your 2 and your 1. That way you have that chain lightning proc damage going for the secure on top of your Detonate damage. And it's not the best secure in the game. It's no Kukulkan ulti, but it gets the job done, I would say, most of the time. A little bit harder the time as well. You do have to factor in that there is that small delay on Detonate, so you have to click it slightly before you mean it. Now we're gonna back it up. We're gonna get ourselves a Doom Orb. I'm gonna get myself some penetration going this game. They've got a Set, a Capri, a Robin, a lot of characters that could go potentially quite tanky. So I am going to get myself a Karen's Coin. Karen's Coin is going to give us that 20% magical penetration. And it's also going to give us the ability to stack it up and get ourselves more movement speed. Between the additional movement speed from Doom Orb and Karen's Coin, in the lifesteal from Bancrofts and our Healy McSteelies, we just might have a chance at living. I'm gonna keep chasing on this Hachi, except for I actually gotta be careful because there's a Merlin all around there. I think I'm gonna be okay. Kepri does throw down the ulti, that's fine. I'm gonna try to go heal off of some creeps, and we should head ourselves over to the Fire Giant. We just got a big fight going. If you need to burst down an objective extra fast, you can, of course, feel free to throw down your ultimate on the objective, because, of course, the Fire Giant's not going to run away from you. It means you're going to get that full damage onto the objective, and it's easy for your ulti to do like 2,000 damage in the late game to an objective, which is pretty awesome. It can very much help you burst it down. Your job as Zeus is a little bit different than other mages. You're not so much looking to burn down any individual target, so much as you are looking to simply output damage. Kind of think about how Nuwa Ultimate just puts damage out into the world. It puts proc effects out into the world. It's not like in a late game team fight you're gonna use it specifically to kill one person, right? Or at least you shouldn't be. You should be using it to like start off a fight, get a bunch of damage out, get divine rune procs on people, all sorts of stuff. Same concept with Zeus. You're not so much looking to kill anybody individually as much as you are looking to provide a bunch of pressure on the team in its entirety. So you're looking to get those chain lightnings going and bouncing around and slowing a few people. You're looking to get people zoned out and hit by your ultimate, so that way your team can be the cleanup crew. It's much better for you to get like 5 people down 40% HP than 1 person down all the way, because it's going to be so much easier for your team to just move in and give you pressure. We got the chain lightning now bouncing off of the Robin and the Kepri in the back. I'm gonna pop my beads and my ultimate. Gonna use my detonate there on the Robin. He is gonna be able to come back from this, but because he comes back towards the Kepri, he should put his Kepri in trouble. I'm gonna try to move back around over towards this fountain, so that way the Robin can't get back into it safely. Gonna try to bounce my one off of minions, and we should be able to attack the Titan and get this game going. After our Karen's coin here on Zeus, we would have had our penetration online. We've got the 10% from the Warlock Sash plus the 20% from the Karen's coins. We would have had 30% pen, plus we had our lifesteal and bonus movement speed. After that, I would have been moving into a Rod of Tahuti. Rod of Tahuti is a fantastic item for Zeus because you're oftentimes going to be using your detonate as your last ability. You throw out your 2, your 1, your ulti, and then you go in to use your detonate. That means that oftentimes targets are going to be somewhere near 50% HP. And if they are somewhere near 50% HP, you're gonna get that bonus damage from the Rada Tahuti on your detonate proc, which is already getting multiplicative damage for having 3 stacks on them. So I can give you an absolute wally womp. At the very end of the game, selling your boots, I almost always give myself a Mantle of Discord on Zeus. A Mantle of Discord will keep you alive more than anything else will on Zeus, especially as you enter the ultra late stages. You won't need any more damage. You will simply need a Mantle of Discord to keep yourself alive, guys. And that is our Zeus.